Okay. Thank you, Chairman. We are now streaming on Facebook and we are also streaming on YouTube. You may begin.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the meeting of the Audit Committee of the Public Building Commission of Chicago, being held on today, September the 16th, 2020 at 1 p.m. Due to the COVID-19, an in-person meeting is not prudent nor practical. Today's meeting is being conducted by video conference and is being live streamed on the PBC's YouTube and Facebook accounts. You can access this information on the agency's website at pbcchicago.com. Director Sanchez, please call the roll at this time.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. It is great to see everyone today. And for those that are celebrating, happy Mexican Independence Day. I wanted to thank you for participating in our virtual Audit Committee meeting. I wanted to provide a reminder that as we begin our meeting, to please keep your microphones muted when you are not speaking. But for right now, please unmute your microphones as I call the roll. Chairman Whitley.
Present.
Commissioner Sachs.
Present.
Commissioner Randolph.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Director Sanchez. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the December 16th, 2019 Audit Committee meeting. Do I have a motion?
I so move. Commissioner Sachs moves that we accept the minutes.
Commissioner Randall seconds.
Thank you. The motion is approved. The next item on the agenda is public participation. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, registered speakers will be allowed 2 minutes to provide comments and will join the meeting. Karina, please. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Commissioner, there are no registered speakers today.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just turned 50 not too long ago. And so, that's a 50 moment right there, you all. Amen. All right. Report by the PBC's Director of Finance, Tanya Fuscher, weekly. We're now in your hands.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tanya.
I don't think you'll ever understand, but I am super excited to be here today. So on behalf of the Finance Department, I wanted to just say that as a starter, we are a bit behind in our schedule, but due to the pandemic, the PBC did request a 3-month extension from the GFOA on submission of their 2019 CAFA report, and it was granted. So with that being said, we have worked diligently on accomplishing the goal in getting this report completed in this uncertain time and this new work environment that we've had to experience. I'm very thankful for our assistance from my team and from Deloitte. We have continued our relationship with our external auditors, Deloitte, and they have worked with us and specifically myself on preparing this document, which is intended to provide the information regarding our financial position for the years ending 2019 and 2018. The report was prepared in accordance with the United States Generally Accepted Accounting Principles and meets all of the requirements for the state of Illinois. The PBC believes this report to be accurate in all material respects, and results are presented in a manner that is fairly set forth for our financial position and the results of our operations for the organization for the years 2019 and 2018. At this time, if you could turn or downplay your screen to the financial report, we're going to talk about page 5 and 6 of that for the summary of the condensed financial information schedule. So I just want to draw your attention to the assets of the commission exceeded the liabilities by approximately $72.5 million for the year ended December 31st, 2019. Of that amount, $49.5 million was included in net investment in capital assets, and $22.9 million was restricted for the use by the Daily Center and for the Commission's operations. Our total net position decreased by $1.3 million for the year ending December 31st, 2019. Even though we had an increase in 2018 of $396,000, we experienced a decrease due to the changes that are attributable to our revenues and expenses from a year-on-year basis. When we look at the next page on page 6, our operating revenues for the years ending 2019 and 2018 were $243.9 million and $333.7 million, respectively. Operating expenses were $243.6 million and $330.3 million for the same years. These fluctuations are based on the volume as well as the life cycle of our current project portfolio. As we continue to have projects go through various lifespans over a 2 to 3 period, we will continue to see peaks and valleys within our revenues and our expenses as we go forward, which directly affects why our net position decreased this year versus last year. But as a net, we have continued to be driven by cost-effective design and construction services throughout the course of our project portfolio. In 2019, the PBC successfully constructed and renovated 17 public facilities, ranging from school buildings that provide the students with cutting-edge facilities to learn and succeed, to a state-of-the-art manufacturing, technology, and engineering center, MTech, for city colleges. And additionally, we completed 8 rehabilitation and renovation projects with the Chicago Park District under the Save Chicago's Treasures initiatives. The 17 projects completed in 2019 represent $307 million in investment across the city over the lifespan of the project's construction phases. The Commission's fiscal management demonstrates how the PBC continues to remain committed to the stewardship of the public fund through our cost and schedule control. Accordingly, if we look at our direct administrative expenses, we continue to remain flat over the course of the last 2 years. Between 2019 and 2018, we are relatively maintaining a $5 million administrative expenses, which continues to project less than what we budget on an annual basis. In conclusion, I'm going to personally thank my team for all their hard work, and also a huge shout out to the Deloitte team for helping and working us through this new way of doing business under these times. That is all I have for my report.
Is there a motion to accept?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the report and that we thank the staff.
Is there a second?
I second that motion, Commissioner Randall.
Thank you. And I agree. We also thank the staff for an excellent report. The next item on our agenda is the report from Alan Truesdale. I hope I pronounced that right, Alan.
Yes,
from Deloitte and Touche. We're now in your hands, sir. Thank you for working with us.
Thank you. And good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again, Chairman Whitley and management, members of the committee. It really is good to see so many of your faces, and I look forward to seeing you again in person once we get back to our new normal. If the members of the committee could please turn to page 4 in the Deloitte materials. I do want to start today with a quick introduction, just given the fact that we're doing this virtually and not all in the same conference room together. So, hi, everyone. I think most of you know me. I'm Alan Truesdale. I'm your lead client service partner from Deloitte. Local partner here in Chicago. I've been with Deloitte for 26 years, focusing in the public sector industry, which serves governmental, nonprofit, and higher education clients. And I'm also the U.S. industry leader for the firm's public sector audit practice, and have been serving the PBC in varying capacities for a number of years. I'd like Caroline Schneider and Juliana Salas to also introduce themselves, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Caroline Schneider, and I am a senior manager in the Chicago Deloitte office, where I've been with the firm for the past 10 years. Like Alan, I also focus primarily on public sector clients. which includes the PBC, the City of Chicago, and the YMCA. While this was my first year on the PBC, I do work with Alan and Juliana throughout the year on multiple other public sector engagements. And I did want to note that I very much enjoyed working with Tanya and her team this year, even given the unique remote working environment.
Hi, everyone. I'm Juliana Salas. I'm a fifth-year senior at Deloitte. I work primarily in the public sector, also serving multiple not-for-profit and governmental clients, namely the YMCA and Metropolitan Pier and Exposition Authority. This is my second year at the Public Building Commission Audit, and I was very happy to be back and to continue working with Tanya and her team.
Thank you both, Caroline and Juliana. Also on page 4, which is the organization chart of our client service team, two quick takeaways. A tremendous amount of continuity here with names and faces once we're back together that you would recognize. I do want to acknowledge our joint audit team members and firms that are unable to be with us today, the firms of Washington, Pittman McKeever, led by Lester McKeever, as well as Velma Butler and Company, led by Velma Butler. Both Velma and Lester have been assisting Deloitte in our MBE, WBE capacity for a number of years, and we really appreciate their insight and continuity that they're able to offer through their staff. This year, we did up our MBE, WBE participation to nearly 40% of our contract. And again, thank both Lester and Velma for their participation. Lori, if we could please turn to page 5. I would like to just reiterate the purpose of our call today is to go over the results of the fiscal 2019 external audit. Our communications are prepared in accordance with our professional standards, and they cover many of the communications you're accustomed to seeing. These materials have been discussed with management in advance of today's meeting, so we will leave them as read and cover on just a few of the highlights in our allotted time limit. First and foremost, I do want to, similar to Tanya and others, acknowledge the hard work from both the PBC team as well as the Deloitte team. As we sit here today, we are substantially complete with this year's audit. Both teams executed 100% in a virtual environment, given the pandemic we're all facing. And we do anticipate issuing an unmodified opinion on the financial statements in accordance with our modified plan later in September, probably next week at some point. So this really is a testament to the quality of the books and records that Tanya provided to us for audit, and really a nod to the dedication on both sides of the ball, if you will, in terms of really focusing on the audit, given all of the extra noise that we're all dealing with. Lastly, as you can see again in the executive summary, I did want to just confirm our audit scope this year and our scope of services was essentially the same as it has been in prior years. But Juliana, I think, will explain here in just a moment how we did execute differently in this environment and some of the special considerations we faced this year that came along with that virtual execution. So, Juliana, I think we could probably move to areas of audit emphasis on page 7.
Thank you, Alan. As Alan mentioned, I would like to share with you the results of our audits of areas of audit emphasis. So first, we're required by the AICPA to consider the potential of fraud in a financial statement audit. This is a presumed significant risk for all entities, not just the Commission. But in order to address this presumed risk, we had fraud discussions with key members of management. We evaluated estimates for potential bias. We looked at any significant transactions throughout the year, and I'm pleased to say we noted no significant unusual transactions in the course of the audit. We also evaluated the design and implementation of controls, particularly over the financial close and reporting process, especially considering the virtual work environment that we're currently in. And we found controls in place. I will touch a little bit more on this in the next slide. We evaluated journal entries with characteristics of audit interest, which we identified using our innovation tool, Cortex. And finally, we had discussions regarding potential new risks and opportunities for fraud related to the current pandemic, which brings me to our next slide. If we turn to slide 8, I would like to highlight our considerations on the impact of COVID-19 in our audit and in the Commission. Given the pandemic, our audit was performed entirely remotely, and the Commission continues to operate in a remote setting as well. So we started by considering how the remote environment would affect the control environment. We held Zoom control walkthroughs where we could understand what might have changed, and ultimately we were able to confirm that controls over financial reporting and key processes have not changed significantly. The majority of these controls for the year-end instances were completed in an electronic manner, but similarly to how they were done in the past. We also considered how the change in the environment would impact the audit evidence that we would be able to obtain, and we're happy to say that we've benefited greatly from having already implemented a strong process for receiving documents electronically through our Deloitte Connect portal. So we were able to get everything we needed remotely in the same format as prior years and did not know any significant impacts to the quality of what we received. Beyond the processes and controls, we also considered what effects the pandemic might have on the financial statements and the necessary disclosures. So to this end, the financial statements now include more discussion on the impact of COVID, specifically in a subsequent events footnote, as well as throughout the disclosures where applicable. We also wanted to point out we did not identify any indicators of concern regarding the effect of COVID, as the Commission has strong financial resources available currently. We considered the investment portfolio for potential impairment or valuation fluctuations and did not find anything significant. And we also considered the potential impact of the pandemic on the PBC's revenue streams, noting no significant impacts for the year ended 12/31/2019. So with that, I'll turn back to Caroline to cover some of our required communications.
Great. Thanks so much, Juliana and Alan. Everyone could turn to page 10 of the Appendix A of the required communications. I know you got these in advance, so I will summarize these given our limited time here today. So as noted on slide 10, we do affirm that Deloitte is independent with respect to the PBC. Our responsibility under auditing standards is that management is responsible for the financial statements, but we do provide reasonable assurance that the financial statements are not materially misstated. We go on to the next slide on slide 11, did want to highlight that PBC's significant accounting policies as set forth in note 1 of the financial statements has not changed from the previous years. So from our perspective, the accounting estimates that are specific to the PBC are depreciation, value of investments, and other revenue project development fees. We head to the next slide on slide 12. Did want to highlight that we believe the financial statements are presented fairly and in accordance with GAAP. And during the audit, we were not aware of any significant unusual transactions. To close out our required communications in Appendix A on slide 13, here we have our other required communications, which I won't read out everything, but in summary just means that the audit went very well, as we've already been saying, and we had full cooperation from management. So even in the unique working from home conditions, Tanya and her team were great to work with and got us everything we needed to finish the audit timely and meeting the deadline. So with that, I'll pass it on to Alan to discuss the other material written communications.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a general observation. Again, in this environment, we're all socially distant, but I do think that the way we executed the audit this year in a weird sort of way brought us closer together. I've had so many Zoom calls with the executive management team that I'm even commenting, as you may have heard, on Tanya's background and the fact that it's just changed slightly. So although we're all socially distant and executing remotely, in a weird kind of way, it brought us closer together, which really facilitated an effective and efficient audit this year. So again, thank you to both sides, both teams here in getting us to where we sit today. That really concludes our required communications for the day. There are a few other appendices. I'll just note Appendix C is a technical update. Really the only takeaway there, GASB statement number 95 was issued, which was really a postponement of any upcoming GASB pronouncements that were due. And so as we get into planning for next year, we'll again work with management through our training sessions on implementation of upcoming accounting standards. Appendix D, again, available resources for both management as well as the board. I will note that starting in March, and Lori and Tanya probably got sick of seeing them, but I was sending quite a few COVID pandemic-related thoughtware pieces from Deloitte just to make sure that the depth and breadth of the firm was available to you at your fingertips as we react, respond, and then thrive through this pandemic. So a huge thank you again to everyone, and that concludes our prepared remarks. Happy to take any questions.
I have one question, and that is, have you had any look at any idea of, for instance, if the courthouse is not in session, have we lost any revenue from any of the agencies that owe us any money? Is there any deferred income?
So from our audit procedures, Commissioner Sachs, we didn't see anything, but I would ask Tanya or Lori if they want to comment on the results of operations.
No, we haven't lost any revenue due to deferred revenue or revenue. All agencies are currently paying as expected, as noted, based off of their projects.
And to add on to that, the courthouse was never fully closed. There were still some very limited court proceedings that still occurred during the pandemic for emergency orders and such.
I think that's a huge comment, positive comment about Americans and how they behave in a very difficult time.
Thank you.
So I really, really think that what you guys have done proved the strength of our country, the whole team.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments?
I move we accept the report.
But I'm okay with
Okay, I just had a comment, Mr. Chairman, and I will second that. I just wanted to thank the team. Yeah, I just wanted to thank the team. Obviously, working in this environment is a real challenge, and it's I respect and appreciate your ability to overcome those challenges and make it work and complete a very difficult process in a normal year, obviously, and getting it done now is pretty impressive. So thank you for all your work. And I also second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. I ditto the compliments of Commissioner Sachs and Commissioner Randall. And again, this is a new normal for us, but obviously the staff of the PBC certainly prevailed and worked through this very difficult time. And we celebrate your commitment to excellence and professionalism. So congratulations and thank you for your service. The report is accepted. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
And I pray that everybody stays well and strong.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
My prayer as well. All right. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Have a good week and a blessed weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and thank you, Reverend. We appreciate it.
Lori, did I do okay, Lori?
Well, I'll tell you this. I think you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to make sure Lori said I did a good job, though. Lori, did I do a good job?
Yes, we are going to
thank you.
Include our live stream on YouTube and Facebook.